Hello, this is Yehna.
And this is Jessie.
We are excited to be back with another episode. We wrestled through many different questions, but today we wanted to invite you and have a little discussion about what's been on our mind. Clearly, not organized. So, welcome and join us
At
at the
the
table.
table.
I can't even edit that out because
I was gonna say, when is it ever
oh
organized?
my God. I was doing so well. It's okay. Whatever.
No, this is meant to, every episode, this always happens, and it almost needs to happen, or else it's weird.
Yes. My sister pointed it out
Oh,
actually
does
the other
she?
day. She goes, "Oh, at the table. Oh my God, we did it correctly this time." I'm like, "Oh my
Oh
goodness,
my
I can't."
gosh. Hi,
Hi,
Sarah.
Sarah. Oh man.
Oh man. Today is just another rant about stuff that's been on our hearts, specifically just realizing how important it is for faithfulness and obedience to meet.
Hmm.
And so we'll just be kind of talking through different things and different ways that we have seen that show up in our lives and what that looks like now
Yeah.
as we're going through it. But Yana, what are some of the things where you have realized, man, I need to make sure that my obedience is following?
Yeah. Obviously, it's not like I had this booming voice of the Lord telling me, Yenna, Kim, you need to obey A, B, and C specifically. But it's just this, as you build a relationship with the Lord, it's just this, you want to have an innate desire to spend time with the Lord. And the Lord calls us to have that time of intercession and coming back to Him. And yesterday at church, I was so called out because we got to a point into the sermon where the topic of laziness came up. And I'm not saying I'm like in my bed all the time, not doing anything, and not that type of laziness, but I was definitely at a spiritual laziness. I just hope that the Lord would show up in the way He will because He's all powerful and all knowing. And I would like mooch off of what He's given. And obviously, I won't do anything out of my own power, but the
Mm.
obedience is that I have not spent time with Him. And such a huge pivotal moment is approaching in my life and our life where we're leading a pretty hefty retreat and for the first time in our life. And I'm hoping that the Lord will show up, and I know He will, but I've not spent time praying and interceding with Him and asking specifically how I would desire Him to show up in that retreat. And obviously, I don't have that much time left, but that's beside the point. It's just, I just feel so blessed that He's revealed that to me sooner
Mm.
than later. And then I get to a point into the retreat and I'm like, whoa, this is happening. And I'm like trying to lead worship when my posture is super blurred. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is I think instead of having this almost superficial faith that the Lord will do this work, I
Mm.
really need to intercede and see what type of work the Lord would will me to do, or like how He wants me to show up and how I need to walk in obedience. So that's definitely been like a big arrow in my heart in the past like 24 hours. Of course, every time.
Every time we only talk about things that are like immediately on our hearts, live time. So clearly you can see a trend of how our lives are going based on what we record. But
So true.
no, thanks for sharing that. And what I was gonna say is, based on what I'm hearing, God will do what he needs, what he plans on doing anyway, but he wants us to be a part of the process, you know. He wants us to want to convene with him. And I just find that so cool because like he is always faithful, but sometimes we forget that God wants that desire. He wants us to desire it equally as much with him. So that's really
Yes.
cool.
How about you?
Oh,
The hard thing is, so before we record, we just have like a full on like brain dump session for the brain dump. And then sometimes we dump way too hard. Wait, that sounds so bad. But you know what I mean? That we get to a point where like, whoa, my brain is blank. And honestly, that kind of just speaks to where we're at because so many things are moving. And I think that's
Yeah.
why I appreciate us recording because it forces us to actually reflect what the heck is going on in our lives. But anyway, with all that said, Jesse, I did a little stalling for
Yep.
you.
Thank you. Wow, you know me so well. As you were sharing that, I was like, okay, what was I supposed to talk about? No, okay. For me, without going into too many details, just in general, how this summer has been, a lot of unexpected things are happening. And in that, I'm always like, oh, don't worry. I'm not anxious. Like, God will provide.
Hmm.
And kind of just like left it at that, but not realizing that I haven't even prayed about this situation. I
Mm,
haven't asked for God to open up doors that would lead to somehow solving this unexpected issue that's come up. You know, just forgetting to actually be in communication with him and not
mm,
just being like, all right, I know God's character, done. Thanks, God. I'm going to be chilling over here. No, like he wants us to open up the word, declare who he is, be reminded that it's going to be okay. But like, yeah,
yeah.
just I'm forgetting that there's steps that need to be taken and that I can show up in obedience in a better way than
Yeah.
just trusting and calling it a day, you know?
Exactly. That just reminds me because another part of the sermon was our dependency in the Lord is shown through our prayer and the frequency in our prayer because prayer is not just like the Lord, I want this and I need this and I want that. No, more than that, it's
Right.
like a time of communing with Him and just talking to Him about what the things on our hearts and the things on our minds, and like you said, Jesse, just praising him and showing gratitude and speaking that out loud, not just saying I know I'm grateful, like why do I need to say it out loud? No, it's like you need to say it out loud. The Lord knows, but he would, it's like it's the offering of showing up and showing your gratitude, so, and the example he was saying is he talked to his daughter and was like, what if I just spent an hour a month with your mom? What would our relationship look like? Not good. Yeah, duh. Obviously you wouldn't even know who she is. And it was like that pause moment, and we just treat God as such a faraway being, and honestly, rightfully so, because yes, He's not physically with us, but He still desires that time together. Anyway, but with that said, it's just like I forget that because again, it feels
Mm,
not it's not tangible. It feels abstract, and
mm. Yeah, no, I like how you brought up that example of him spending time with his wife. I was just going to say, any relationship that you desire to know deeply, you're expressing your gratitude. You're expressing how much you know, what the qualities you see in them, and you're making sure you spend time with them and
yeah.
realizing that you can't assume that you know them because there's always new things to learn about them.
Mm,
And I feel like I'm good at doing that with friends, with family, but realizing, man, God wants the same thing too. Just hit me now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to apply that energy to God as well.
yeah.
So
If
thanks
not
for
all
that
the more.
reminder.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
was so convicted yesterday. Can you tell? Like, I mean, what am I saying? I do that all the time. Oh, bad. It's so true because of that today. So I had an interview today and I was driving 2 hours to my interview. LOL. But welcome to Texas. Anyway, and as I was driving, I had my music on and I was like, chillaxing. Honestly, so tired, but it just like clicked. Oh my gosh. I didn't even pray if the Lord wants me to have this job or how to even prepare for this interview or, those things. I was just so caught up in applying and doing all the logistical step by step things. And I didn't stop to think. And it's like, it's not just the act of like spending time with him, but in the moment of spending time with him, my brain is cleared. But I don't mean clear, I'm not thinking at all, but it's just there's a peace that, how do I say, just quiets the mind. And
Mm,
it's not just a peace that covers anxiety, not just because I was anxious, but because there's so many things ruffling through my head, it distracts me from spending time with God. And that's exactly what Satan wants. Satan doesn't really need there to be a one method of us coming away from the Lord. His job is quite literally to distract, destroy, and to deter and delay the Lord's work, and our relationship with Him. So that's why I think I mentioned this in another episode, how a lot of times it's the busyness that is truly what gets us
Mm.
and steers us away from the Lord. And so I've definitely been falling in that trap in the past couple, I want to say weeks, but it's really months. So
It's been a season.
it's been a summer. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's been on my mind and continues to be on my mind, which I'm glad because now it gives me a clean slate. I think really the growth is that I instead of spiraling into a rhythm of shame, I'm able to ask the Lord to forgive me and to come back out and say, "Hey God, it's me again." Yana
Like, I'm
Kim here.
back.
Hello. I hope you love me. Yeah.
Like, it's been a while.
Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Thanks for that reminder. And I even hope for you guys too that whatever circumstances that you're going through, whether it's big or small, that you just be reminded that the Lord wants to be a part of that and that you
Mm.
can come to Him, even if it's just small and even if it's stuff that you don't even think He needs to be a part of. Like He wants to be a part of that.
So true. Anyway, that's just been on our hearts and on our minds, and just we wanted to share with you because it's just so easy to get distracted and fall into the busyness of life. So hopefully this also is a reminder to pause a little bit for yourself and reflect on how the Lord has been moving in your life, and just reflect on how life is going for you in general, because sometimes that is even hard. Anyway, thank you for listening. We're on Spotify and on YouTube, and all our updates on our Instagram. And as always, thank you for supporting us. Cannot wait to share more on our next episode. Bye.
Bye.